Hello everyone and welcome back to Casa Cloud. And this is 10th part of Azure Ansible series. We have up till now we have created the AKS cluster, we have created the ACR, that is Azure Container Registry. Then we started a Node.js microservice from scratch. We created a Docker image and we have pushed that image to the ACR, that is Azure Container Registry. Right now, if we just go to the Azure Container Registry, we have already gone through in the previous videos how we have pushed image inside this Azure Container Registry. I have this repository and this is nothing but my image, Node.js template colon version 1.0.6, and I also have the Kubernetes installed inside the same resource group. And in my last video in the Helm chart series, we have already understood how to manually create a Helm chart and how to deploy it inside the Kubernetes. So if you go to the Helm chart repository, this is the Helm chart repository where I have already created a particular Helm chart, that is Node.js template 01. So this Helm chart has the particular detail to pull that particular image that is already present in ACR inside the Kubernetes. So the template says, pull a particular image and the version. The image and version details are given in values.yaml file. So what is my repository? It is Casa ACR01, that is DNS of the ACR, and this is my repository, that is Node.js template, my image name, and my version is v1.0.1. So this is version is already present in our ACR already. Okay, and now we are going back to the repository that we have, Ansible Azure. Okay, so we are continuing with this repository. If you want to pull the entire source code in local, then just go to http, copy, go to your favorite browser, and here do git clone and paste the URL, and you should get the entire source code that we are going through right now here in your local. Always we have the readme file for the setup. You can go through the readme file or you can go through each and every video that we have already created in this particular playlist that will help you set up, install the software that are required, do the setup configuration, creation of the SP, and creation of the AKS and the ACR as well. So today we are going to see how we can do the CI and CD both. The CI includes creation of a particular image and push it to ACR, and CD is to pull the Helm chart and push the Helm chart or install the Helm chart so that that particular image should be installed the AKS. Let's see the infra.complete, and we have already completed this attach ACR to AKS in the previous video. Today we'll focus on CI and CD, and my CI will be pulling the project. Which particular project? Will be pulling the Node.js project, which is already given here. Node.js TypeScript blueprint. This is the Node.js microservice project. It will try to pull that project, create the image of that project using the Docker file present inside that particular project. We have a Docker file. Using this Docker file, it will create that particular image and it will try to push it to the ACR. We already have that version inside the ACR, but if we push again, it will just override and will be nullified. Otherwise, we can create a new version. Okay, so that is my playbook number 13 that will go through. And then we have the 14th number playbook, that is Helm install microservice, where we'll be pulling the Helm install microservice, we'll be pulling this particular Helm chart, the first Helm chart that we have in the Helm chart series, that is 01 Node.js template. So let's start with pulling the project we have in 13. Let me close this thing. Okay, so we start with the playbook. We first pull all the two global and regional variable files that are present inside the variable. Because we are talking about dev, so we'll be only considering the dev regional main file. This we can select whether it is dev, prod, SIT or UAT when we are trying to run a playbook. Okay, we can select any one of this. So because today we are talking about dev, so it will select this file. Okay, regional main. Here I have few of the updates related to microservice. Okay, This is my first microservice. As we go along, we'll be creating multiple microservices. So my first microservice is Node.js template. I have the Helm chart folder. I have a Git repo about the source code that I have. I have the Git repo about the Helm chart folder that I have. Okay, let's go back. Let's keep this open and let's go to full project. What we are doing, we are including these two variables. The global main do not have anything much. It just had the tenant ID. So we pull this, so it will be in the cache. First is check if Git is available. This is a role. This role is added inside the global role inside GitHub. Check Git available. For any role, the control will always go to task/main.yaml. And what it has? It just first validate whether the answer var is present or not. And this is all commented. What we are checking, which Git. So if Git is installed in your system, then it will try to give a path. That is, if you just do here, which Git, it will give the path where the Git is installed. That means Git is installed and we can use Git command inside this particular environment. So this is how we check. Try to ignore error. And if Git is not installed, then I'll stop the playbook right away, saying that it's failed. I cannot see Git. I cannot continue further. But if it is RC 0, that is the response is 0, that it is passed. I get the value. Then I'll let continue. That is GitHub is available. Next is set a local folder. So what I want to do is I want to pull this particular repository that we have, the Node.js repository, so that I should be able to create a image out of that. Okay. For that, I want a local folder to be created. So the folder will be created in the current folder. Inside that, I'm giving a ms.suffix name. What is the suffix name? ms.suffix.name, that is Node.js template, and some epoch time I'm adding to it, because once I create the image and I push the image to ACR, I'll be deleting this folder. So this is just a temporary folder for me. So I'll just give a random name and I'll make sure what is the name of the folder that I'm setting. Okay, I'm printing name. Then create a temporary folder for cloning the repository. So I'm again calling this particular role that will create that folder given. Okay, create folder 001. Here, this role you will see inside localhost. Create folder 001 task main. What it is doing, again checking the basic variables, and then it is using the file module and creating a directory. And once the folder is created, it is okay. So this is creating a folder. Then I am doing a git clone. Git clone for what? Inside this is particular repo, which is GitHub repo. I'm using this Git repo, which is nothing but Node.js TypeScript blueprint, particular repository. I'm pulling it from there. How do I pull? Git clone 001 role. If I go to GitHub, git clone 001 task main.yaml. What it is trying to do, it is using a git module of Ansible and it is trying to pull that and push the content of the repository inside the destination folder that we have created above here. Okay. So once the git clone is done, then I'm checking if Docker is available, because I want Docker. I need to make sure Docker is present so that I'll be able to create a Docker image. So just like git check, I have a Docker check inside the Docker hub, inside the global folder, inside the global roles, the Docker. We go to the check Docker available 001 task main, and here I'm seeing checking which Docker. If I don't get 0, then I fill it. The another way to do that is Docker info. If you get Docker info, then you will right Docker is running. If not, Docker is not running. And based on that, you can either pass or fail the playbook. Okay. Once the Docker is present, then I'm trying to build a particular Docker image. How do I build it? I'm passing few variables from here. That is container registry. What is the container registry? I'm pulling from my regional variables. I have the container registry, container registry 1, and the name of it. See here, the name of it slash Azure cr.io. What I'm trying to create is I want to create this particular DNS, which is the ACR DNS, C casa acr01.azure.io. This particular thing I'm trying to create because I have those variable present here. I'm just concatenating, creating a container registry. Image name where I'm getting my image name is this. Okay, ms docker image name. This is my Docker image name, and then the version I'm taking here, and the repo folder where I need to build that documentation is local folder, which is folder that will be creating. It will just be creating here besides the playbook folder, and we'll be able to see that folder when we try to run this Ansible playbook. Then we try to log in to the ACR because I know I have the image present now and I need to push to the ACR. So to push that, I need to first log into the ACR. For that, again, I have a role, and this role only accepts the container registry name. What it is doing, login to is, let's go inside the management. We see login Azure CR main. What it is doing is it is just checking AZ ACR login minus name and the container ACR name. Okay. And it will authenticate against the current scope. My current scope, the SP that I have currently run this particular playbook. Okay. So that is with that SP, it will be logged in. So for pushing the image, we again have a role that is push image 1. What it will do, if currently I have Docker image ls, currently I do not have any image. If at all I have the image, because at this point I'll have a image present in my Docker, then I'll push it, push image 001, where it is, go above inside the Docker, push image 001 task main, and what it is doing, it is pushing simple docker push command, and it is taking the registry. It will push the Docker image and then remove the image from the local. Once it is pushed to ACR, I do not want that particular image to be present inside my current machine. And next, when we have the real CI/CD agent pipeline, then there in the agent as well, I don't want that to be present. Otherwise, it will be adding up and use extra. Okay, so it is a good idea to remove the image once it is utilized. Or okay, so I will remove the image from localhost. How do I remove? It is eventually running a command that is docker image rmi or docker image remove. See quickly inside the Docker, we have local task main. It is doing docker rmi and the of the image that I wish to remove, that I have just created and pushed to ACR. Okay, done. Then I'm removing folder that I have created, so that whatever activity that I did, I pulled that particular repository and kept it inside the folder. I'm removing that. Okay, so let's try to run this. After we run this particular playbook, let's do first source setup.sh. What it is doing, it is giving the access to my playbooks to all the roles that I have declared inside the role path. Here you can see all the role paths that I have inside the global roles present here. So it just get access to all the role paths. Okay, so I need to make sure I add the source. Make sure you add it too, otherwise the roles will not be accessible to the playbook. Go now, Ansible playbook 13, control R. So this is my command, Ansible playbook -I inventory. I'm taking all the variables from the dev folder, that is this region main.yaml, and I'm trying to execute the playbook number 13. And what it will do, it will create a folder, pull the repository, create a Docker image, push the image to the ACR, then clean up both the folders that we have created. Okay, it is pulling, creating a Docker image. You see here, Node.js template. So a Node.js template has all the source code that is present. You see two, one should be from the older one, but never mind. We'll see which one gets deleted. That is created now. Okay, it is creating the Docker image. I should have another folder called as Node.js template. Let's wait Docker ACR. Okay, once the image is pushed, the image currently. Okay, so once the image is pushed, it has deleted the folder that I had. This is the older folder. I can just delete this. Must be from my previous test. Okay, so this is completed. That is my 13th playbook. If I go back to my master infra complete here, so it is my pull project. I pulled the Node.js project, created the image and pushed to ACR. If we talk about the CI and CD concept, then CI is nothing but these steps. That is, from project I need to create the artifact. For my case, the artifact is the image and we need to push that image to kind of artifact hub. Our case, it is ACR, that is Azure Container Registry. And what is CD? CD is nothing but pulling that image or the artifact from the ACR or any of the artifact hub and pushing it to the Kubernetes or any of the deployment platform. So let's start our CD and let's understand what is 14th playbook and how do we do the CD. I think you got the gist. How do we do it? But let's go through it one by one. This is my regional mail. I'll keep this open. So first I'm checking, I'm just pulling both the variables, that is regional main and the global main. Global main doesn't have much. I need to do the Azure login. I need to make sure I do the Azure login because I need to communicate from the local machine to install a particular Helm chart to AKS. And to get that access, I need to make sure two things. I have the Azure login, and second, I have a proper role. I means the SP has a proper role to push any of the deployments to the Azure Kubernetes service. What that role could be? It could be Azure reader, RBAC reader role. Okay, we'll see that later. Okay, so login is login using the SP, using the certificate, then getting the AKS ID. What is it? It is trying to do is it is going to the AKS and it wish to pull the ID of the AKS, which is this particular ID. How it do? It is calling a role again, that is get AKS ID. Let's go to our global roles, container, get AKS ID, task, main. What it is doing, it is checking mandatory variables and then AZ AKS show, resource group, name of the AKS, query is ID and output is TSV. Whatever is the output, I am sending it back and I am putting it here inside the folder AKS ID output. I am printing that particular ID here and then I am trying to assign a role called as Azure Kubernetes Service RBAC writer, because the SP has to install the Helm chart And to do that, it has to have this RBAC writer role. Okay. So it is again another role. What it is doing to the user principal ID, the SP ID, which is the regional. If you go here, identities, SP app01, and this is the app01 ID. Find it. The UI, if I go to Microsoft Intra ID inside the application registration, if you see this app01, and this is the client ID, object ID, and the third one is the SP ID, which is this one is the application ID and the object ID. Either you can give it to the SP that is attached, or you can give access to the app itself. Okay, so here I'm giving it to E6, that is E6, that is application client ID. Okay, for that I'm giving the Azure Kubernetes Service write access. The scope is the AKS ID. That means you get this role access with the of the AKS or AKS. How it does? Assign RBAC role. Assign RBAC role part of security. RBAC task main. It is taking all the three details and it is doing AZ role assignment create assignee but ID. Role is RBAC write and the scope is the AKS. Okay. Once the role is assigned, we continue assignment role. Then we do login to AKS. What is login to AKS? Login to Azure will be only Azure login. It will not have the Kubernetes config file set. So this role will help you to set up the kube config file. So login AKS001. If we go to compute containers, then we have the login AKS001. What it is trying to do is AZ AKS get credentials of this particular AKS, which is present inside this resource. So it is a standard command that is getting the kube configuration file of this particular AKS and making sure I override the existing. If you have already created the AKS previously and then you destroyed and recreated it, it will override configuration and make sure that you have the latest one present. Okay. Once that is done, I do kube convert. That is, you have the .cube file, and if you're using a kube login feature, then you need to convert your kube config file to kube login. This is kube login convert kube config. This is what is been completed inside the login AKS 001. Once that is done, then we go and check whether Helm is available or not. Now you must know how do we check it. We check it through which Helm. Okay, check Helm available 001. Check, go to Helm, check Helm available task main. How do we do it? Which Helm? If I get something, then it is good. If I don't get something, then I fail the playbook. Sure, I should have Helm to go ahead. Okay. So once that is done, then again I'm creating a local folder. This time I'm taking the same suffix, which is the microservice suffix that I have. This one, this is suffix name, and I'm just appending underscore Helm to it. And just creating a folder. Okay. And just adding some epoch type to make sure it is a unique folder. Just printing the folder name, then creating a folder. We have seen this role already. It will just create another folder just here, and then it will do a git clone of the chart. This time the value that I'm passing is the Helm repo instead of the source code of the Node.js. This is the Helm repo, which is the second one, Helm chart inside the Casa Cloud. So it will pull this particular chart which is present in our Casa Cloud Helm chart, this particular repository. pull. That is, it is just doing this, copy, and it will do. Okay, that's what it is trying. We have already seen this. It is using the GitHub module to pull. Then we have the Helm install Helm install role we have next. What it is doing, because now I have the Helm chart, I have login to Azure, I have the Kubernetes config as well. Now I have the Helm chart as well. So it's time to install the Helm chart. Helm, the Helm install task main. Here you go. We are trying to do is Helm install the release name. What is the release name I'm passing? I'm passing the release name from here, the MS name, then the cloud element dot folder path. What is the folder path that we have created here above with the underscore is the path where it has to check for the chart. So that's what it is trying to install. So it is a simple command, helm install release name and then the chart name. Okay. So I'm just printing out the status, and now here it can be two things. Maybe you have already installed your chart. If the chart is already installed, then you need to update your chart, right? And if the chart is not already installed, then you can just, if none of it and still I get a error, then I'll need to stop my playbook. That is what I'm doing. The first block says if RC is 0, that means my Helm installation is successful, then I will just pass the variable RC equal to 0 and I'll go out of this playbook. That means Helm install is successful. But what if my RC is not 0? So in this particular block, what we are trying to check, if at all my Helm install is failing with the error which includes cannot reuse a name that is still in use, that means that chart is already installed. If this is also not present and still I'm having the error, then I must fail the playbook, say that I'm having genuine error to install this particular Helm chart. If this is not the case, but I have an error and the error says cannot reuse a name that is still in use, that means I get a surety that this particular Helm release is installed and I should now upgrade that release with the current set of values that I have inside the chart. What I'll do, I'll try to do Helm upgrade. It is Helm upgrade, again release name and the chart name. It doesn't change. The way we do Helm install already present, then we do the Helm upgrade. Okay. So if the chart is already present, then I do the Helm upgrade. If this is successful, then I go back to this is the installation of the Helm chart. So this is pulling the Helm chart. Helm install, we are here. Once Helm install is done, then we do the removing of the folder. As always, we clean up whatever we created. So we have created this particular folder name, which we are trying to remove. For the remove, we again have this particular role inside the localhost remove folder task main. What it is trying to do is it is using a file module to make it state equals to absent. That means it is trying to remove the entire folder. Clear? Let's try to run this particular playbook, that is 14. What we are doing again, Ansible playbook -i inventory 14 microservice. Okay, it will soon create. It is getting the AKS ID, assigning the RBAC role, and if I go here, see a Node.js template Helm and a epoch time. Okay, and this is my Node.js template. Okay, it has already completed. It did all Helm install as well. If I just do Helm list here, now we can see we have a Node.js template installed. So this is the CD just deployed. If we go to the AKS workloads, we should be able to see Node.js template already. And by the end, we should not see the folder that was created previously. And if I want to just now do helm status just template, I see that it is on revision number 1. That is, it is freshly installed. Then kubectl get pods, we can just see pods here. Once this is done, then if I want to destroy or delete this chart, then we can do helm list to get the name of the chart. Then helm uninstall node.js template. Okay, this will uninstall the complete chart. That is, it is destroying all the pods as well. Refresh here. See, the pod is already gone. And similarly, the deployment is already gone. Pod is already gone. It's cleared. Okay, so this is how we do the CI and CD. We have gone through two important playbooks today. That is pull project, create image, and push to ACR, and then use the Helm repository to first pulled the Helm chart and then did the Helm install and then did the cleanup. Once all things are completed, as I always tell you, we need to clear up the environment that we have created, and we have a playbook for that, so that we should not be built. So what we do is destroy, and this destroy will delete everything that we have created in resource group that we have. So keep this practice. If you're using this, always do learn, create the resources that you want, play with it, and then destroy